2 weeks to go, and I have just 6 words for the teams battling for these playoff spots. Show us what you're made of. What's going on, guys? Six Report here, back to another video. And yes, 2 weeks to go until the playoffs, and we still have a lot of playoff spots that need to be clinched, and divisions still need to be clinched. This season has just gone so crazy, so many teams fighting for playoff spots. It's going to be a fight till the end, and you gotta love it. Let's get into these games. And also, guys, I'm going to try to move through these games quickly. I'm not going to do a deep dive. I'll do that next week. But I will let you know who's in, who's out if the playoffs started today. Alright, well, Thursday night game is going to be the Jets taking on the Browns. And this is basically it for the Browns. If they somehow miss the playoffs, that would be the biggest collapse in NFL history, and I don't see that happening. The Browns, the players, and the coaches have done everything right this year. They have earned their right to go to the playoffs. I say they get the win over the Jets. But not you, front office people. Seriously, what the heck were you thinking with the Deshaun Watson trade? Just what were you thinking? Detroit taking on Dallas. Both these teams are in the playoffs, but only one of these teams has clinched their division. That would be the Lions, and they're still in it for the number 1 seed. Technically, the Cowboys are too, but they need a lot of things to go their way. They can get the division, but they would have to win their last 2 and have Philadelphia lose their last 2. As for this game, I'm going Detroit. Miami taking on Baltimore. Now, this is the big one in the AFC. Both of these teams, they have clinched a playoff spot. But what we're talking about right now is the fight for the number 1 seed. If Baltimore wins, they get the division and the number 1 seed. If Miami wins and they win the following week, they get the number 1 seed. That's where we are, guys. That is where we are. I'm going to go with the Dolphins and their speed. I don't know how Baltimore's going to counter that, especially if Kyle Hamilton misses the game. New England taking on Buffalo. Buffalo, simple as this. Just win your next 2 games. You're in the playoffs. You get New England. Yes, New England's coming off a win. I don't think they make it 2 in a row. Give me the Bills. Short and sweet. Atlanta taking on Chicago. Technically, Chicago's still in it for the NFC playoffs. I know, shocking, right? They're technically still in it, but they would need to win and have a lot of things go their way. I don't think that's going to happen, but they could deliver the final blow to Atlanta, get them out of the race for the NFC South, and essentially take them out of the wildcard race as well. I'm going to say they get it done. I say they get the win over Atlanta. I just trust them more than the Falcons at this point. Tennessee taking on Houston. Houston's in a good spot right now because if they win their last 2, they're in the playoffs, and I'll explain why in the next game. And I'm going to say they get the job done against Tennessee. Give me the Texans. Raiders taking on Indianapolis. This is why the Texans win their last 2 they're in, because they play the Colts week 18, and these teams, the Colts have the tiebreaker over everybody right now, and if they fall, the Texans would have the tiebreaker over both Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. I say also that the Colts get the job done against the Raiders, and the fight for the final wildcard spot comes down to week 18. That's what I'm predicting right now. Carolina taking on Jacksonville. Jacksonville, just somehow win your final 2 games and you get the division. Don't let Houston or Indianapolis take it. You were favored all year long. Don't blow this. Just win your final 2 and you get Carolina. Just finish the deal. Give me Jacksonville. Moving on. Rams taking on the Giants. Giants are out. Rams have the number 6 spot in the NFC playoffs. They win their final 2 games. They get a wild card spot. I'm going with the Rams over the Giants. I say they take care of business. Arizona taking on Philadelphia. Philadelphia right now, they're just not happy with themselves. They dropped 3 in a row. They barely beat the Giants. However, they win, they get the division. Short and sweet. But they're just not happy with themselves. And really, I don't know what this team's going to be like when the playoffs start. Going with the Eagles over the Cardinals, but I don't know what this game's going to be like. I really don't. New Orleans taking on Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, they win, they get the division. About as simple as that. Tampa Bay wins, they get the division. New Orleans, in order to stay alive, they need to win. I say Tampa Bay gets it done at home and gets the division locked up. San Francisco taking on Washington. San Francisco, I think everybody is going to take Monday night out of their memories. Forget the Christmas night game. I think they're just going to take that out of their memories, get ready for Washington, win their final 2 games, and get the #1 seed. That's how I think San Francisco is going to answer after what happened on Christmas night. San Fran, just get it done against Washington. That's all you got to do. Pittsburgh taking on Seattle. Seattle, they win their final 2 games. They are in the playoffs. Short, sweet, that's what you got to do. For Pittsburgh to get into the playoffs, they need to win their final 2 and get some help. It's not going to be easy, but they stayed alive with that win over the Bengals. However, they have to travel to Seattle. It's a tough place to play. I say the Seahawks get the job done. Chargers taking on Denver. Denver was dealt a huge blow when they lost to the Patriots on Sunday night. Huge blow. They're technically still in it, but they would have to win their final 2 and get a lot of help. And I don't know if that's going to happen. But I do say they get the win over the Chargers. Cincinnati taking on Kansas City. When the season started, I think everybody thought this would be the game that determines the #1 seed in the AFC. But no one could have predicted what this season has brought us. Cincinnati's hanging on by a thread in the AFC playoffs. And Kansas City, they got knocked out of the #1 seed last week, out of the race, with their loss to the Raiders. Now, they're trying to hold on to this division. The good news is, all they got to do is win, and they have the division. They win this week, division's all theirs. I say they get the job done against the Bengals. They're at home, which is a huge advantage to them. Get it done, Kansas City. Just get it done. And our Sunday night game, no Monday night game this week, guys. Sunday night, Packers, Vikings. Both these teams, 7-8. Both these teams, they need to win their last 2 and get some help in order to get into the playoffs. And this is where it starts. Loser of this game is out. Winner of this game stays alive for 1 more week. And this is a tough one because both of these teams, they've had their ups and downs this year. You have no idea what team you're going to get week in and week out. I'm just going with the Vikings because they're at home, guys. I'm just going with the Vikings because they're at home. I really don't know how this game is going to go. I really don't. I'm just going to go with the home team. Guys, those were my picks for Week 17. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. And as always, I will see you guys next time.